Hi everyone, I'm Leslie Moreno and here's my video for the segment about NotebookLM. Based on the sources, the main topic is the world of modern board games, specifically focusing on the tick-taking genre. First, we need to explain three main mechanics. First, trick-taking. These are games like Hearts, where you try to win the round or trick. And second, ladder climbing. Here, the goal is to play a card that beats the previous one on the table. Third, shedding. Games where the main goal is to get rid of all your cards, like in Uno. Finally, the sources mention that this genre is experiencing a renaissance right now, and thanks to the innovative new designs, particularly coming from Japan. According to the sources, the examples are divided into two main categories. First, we have traditional games. These include historic games like Hearts and Bridge, but also famous commercial hits like Uno, which is cited as the best example of a shedding game. Second, we have modern classics. These are newer titles that define the genre. The most highlighted ones are The Crew, a cooperative game that revolutionized the market, and Skull King, a popular party theme game about betting. Regarding new authors, the sources highlight Japanese and indie designers as the leaders of innovation. He's the most important name mentioned. He's described as a genius of the genre. He's known for creating unique concepts like Ghost of Christmas, where you play in the past, present, and future. He is a rising star known for complex designs. His game, Eternal Deck, is highly praised as a cooperative puzzle system. Finally, the sources mention creators like Taylor Reiner and Daniel Newman, who are essential for bringing these innovative games to the Western market. The sources describe a renaissance in this genre, driven by three main phenomena. As I mentioned before, Japan is seen as the center of innovation. A big part of the current trend is the culture of importing these unique games to the West. Modern games are not just about playing cards, they add wild new rules. For example, Cat in Box introduces quantum mechanics, where cards don't have a color until you play them. Inspired by the group, many new games are cooperative and feel more like solving a puzzle together than competing against each other. For 2026, the sources list several exciting releases and events. The North American edition of the hit game Eternal Deck is expected to ship in the summer. Also, a sequel to the Lord of the Rings games, Two Tower, is planned for January. Other notable games arriving in stores include Grits and Tricks, which mixes cards with RPG dice, and Coming of Age, which critics are already calling a candidate for Game of the Year. In early 2026, the board game Business Expo will take place in Japan, introducing new titles like Poco Pop. Finally, if you want to learn more about this specific topic, here are the best places to look. This is the most important database for board games. You can search specifically for the trick-taking technique family to see rankings and forums. I highly recommend Taylor's trick-taking table. He's a content creator dedicated almost exclusively to reviewing these new types of games. To follow the Japanese imported scene, keep an eye on publishers like Portland Game Collective or New Mill Industries, as they specialize in bringing these hidden gems to the West. That would be all for this video. Thank you so much for your attention.
Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are blasting off into a card game that completely changed the game, literally, by bringing players together in a totally new way. We are talking about The Crew. And that is no exaggeration. This game took the board game world by storm, even winning the super prestigious Kennerspiel des Jahres award. It became an absolute phenomenon, and today we're going to break down exactly why. So, that's the big question, right? How do you take one of the oldest, most competitive mechanics in card games and flip it on its head so that everybody has to work together? Well, to get it, we've got to start with the basics.
Before we can become astronauts, we need to understand what a trick is. This simple concept is the engine behind hundreds of classic card games.
The whole idea is incredibly simple. If you've ever played hearts or spades or bridge, you already know what this is. One person leads a card, everyone else plays one, and somebody wins that little pile of cards. The goal is almost always competitive. You want to win more tricks or specific tricks than everyone else. Now, these simple rules create some really deep strategy, but let's be honest, they're also why some people are terrified of these games. I think we've all had that experience where a relative just completely destroys us at cards, and that competitive edge can be pretty intimidating. But what if you just got rid of the competition? And right here, this is the radical shift. The Crew takes this competitive foundation and turns it completely inside out. It's no longer about how do I win, it's about how do we make sure the right person wins the right trick at the right time. So how exactly does it do that? Well, this brings us to the core idea that made The Crew such a massive, massive success. This is the crucial point. Forget about opponents. In this game, you're a team of astronauts on a critical mission. There is no single winner. Either the entire crew succeeds or the entire mission fails. Period. And here's the puzzle. At the beginning of the game, certain cards are marked as tasks. For example, a task might be, Player A must win the trick that contains the green 7. Now, the whole team has to work together to make sure that when that green 7 is played, Player A has the highest card needed to win that specific trick.
Okay, so how does a round actually play out? It's way simpler than it sounds. Let's go through a quick 3-step astronaut training.
So first, tasks are dealt out. Then, you start playing tricks, one by one, following all the classic rules. The rocket cards are the trump suit, which means they beat any other color. And here's the most important part, step 3, where all the magic and all the challenge lies. The silence. And it's not just one mission. The game comes with a logbook that guides you through 50 unique missions. Each one tells a piece of a story, and they get progressively harder, adding new rules and challenges that will test your team to its absolute limits. And this gets us to the true genius of the game. You might be thinking, okay, if we're a team, we'll just tell each other what cards we have and figure it out. But nope, you absolutely cannot do that. It is completely forbidden. Here's the challenge. Your communication is extremely limited. Only once per mission, you can use a token to point to a card in your hand and give one piece of information. Is it your highest, your lowest, or your only card of that color? That's it. It turns the game into this incredible logic puzzle of deduction. You have to trust your teammates, you have to read their plays, and you just have to hope that they understand what you're trying to signal. So why did this game, with such a simple-sounding idea, become a global phenomenon? What is it that makes it so special? This quote from Meeple Mountain really captures the essence of it. Cooperative games create bonds, and The Crew is a perfect example of how a game mechanic can force a deep connection and a mutual understanding without needing any words at all. It's this perfect combination. Every single mission is a quick, satisfying puzzle to solve. The tension when you know that just one misplaced card can ruin everything is incredible, and the pure joy when your silent plan works out perfectly is just unmatched. It forces you to get in sync with your friends, to think like they do, creating a real sense of a hive mind. And that's our look at The Crew. It's a game that proves that sometimes, to build the best relationship and achieve the deepest communication, the best thing you can do is just be quiet and trust one another. Are you ready to take on the challenge?